Esther is listening back to the recording, just want to tell her how much I love her and appreciate that she does this.
She will listen, and she will like that.
Great. So my question is about thought and effort in changing thought, like all of that. I've been listening to you for a little while, and I'm also a coach, so I kind of work with others, and so a lot of what I've learned from you has been so useful. But I don't know if I hear clearly, because I hear you sometimes talk about two things.
Yes.
Right? Which is, and it's the thing you say about the deliberate, art of deliberate, and then the allowing.
It's a fine line, isn't it? Because when you try hard, you're focused on a problem that you're trying to overcome.
Yeah.
So the problem is what's most active in your vibration. When you chill out, now you're allowing the solution to come. So just ask yourself, maybe the easy analogy or association would be, when you feel yourself trying, just stop and say, is that cork floating? Or is my effort, have I got hold of the cork and I'm drowning it?
Got it. And I think what I'm seeing is that, we create our own reality, and we create our reality by the thoughts we give attention to. So that the only thing
And it's the steadiness of it, too. A fleeting thought doesn't have much creation power.
Got it.
But those beliefs, which are just thoughts that you continue to think, that's broadcasting that you continue to broadcast.
So at any moment, there is nothing going on out there. I say, I got angry because the kids did this, or I got worried because this happened with a client. But there is nothing going on out there.
Well,
it is my thought to it that gives me this experience.
Here's the thing. You might ask yourself, is my intention to broadcast because of my alignment, or to broadcast in response to things? Am I an actionary or a reactionary? Am I reacting? Because even if it's positive things that you're reacting to, you're still training reaction out of yourself.
Outside, yeah.
So if good things are happening, you react in a positive way. If bad things are happening, you react in a negative way. And in either case, you're not really controlling your own ship.
But the ship we're controlling this is an inside-out reality. It appears.
Let's say that in the way we've been saying it today. It's a source energy to physical. In other words, source energy out. The source within me, inside out.
So inside out, yes.
Yeah.
I don't mean me, but yes, the source that is me in an expression.
Yes.
Right? And source only expresses. Right? So that's what infinite.
Source only expresses love and knowing
and
and
that vibration.
Yes.
And the only thing I could possibly do is either allow or interfere with that.
Yeah.
So I am either allowing the source that is me to express, or I interfere. And the way I interfere is I get a thought.
Yeah.
Like I've never done this before. This is bigger than...
These are perfect words, and let's tie it together with a little more emphasis. Let's say that source that I am allowing to flow through me now is flowing through me the details of what I've been telling source I wanted from my experience. So it all ties together. I live life. I garner from this life experience what I prefer. Source integrates it with all that source knows about me and now expresses the fullness of that through me. And to the degree that I allow it, I feel wonderful and worthy. And to the degree that I don't, I feel less wonderful and less worthy. You got that?
Cool. So when I get a thought, so then I doubt that I could do this, or this is bigger than I've done, or whatever.
So let's use a different word because it'll clarify something. Instead of saying when I get a thought, let's say when I receive a thought.
Receive a thought.
So I've received the thought. So now the logical question is, what receptive mode was I in from which I received the thought? Was I in the receptive mode of source, inside out, or was I in the receptive mode of vulnerability? It's because a lot of times you get what you think is inspiration because it comes in a strong way because it's momentum and it occurs to you. But unless you've really practiced being in alignment, sometimes you can't tell if you're getting it from broader perspective or from...
So I get that, and this is something that shifted for me in the way I guide my clients and myself, because I used to say and would talk about, well, it's like change that thought. Like when you catch that it's a doubt or a fear or a worry or an anxiety, okay, well then change that thought. And that's not possible.
Well, it is if you catch it early enough. That's the rumble strip analogy that we're offering. Sometimes you can if you catch it early enough.
So can I ask technically,
Yes?
is it that you change that thought or that you just let go of it and Source will bring you a new one?
It's almost the same thing, maybe even exactly the same thing, because changing a thought means letting go of one and taking hold of another.
And give attention to another.
And if there's not a lot of momentum going, it's easier to do.
I got that. But let go and give
We
attention.
gave the analogy last week of the Panama Canal, 84-foot difference in one body of water to the next. And so the ship doesn't just jump the 84 feet. Instead, it goes into a lock and the water rises, and when the water in this lock is equal to the water in the next, then the gates open and the ship passes through. And then the water rises, and when the water is again and again and again, it's sort of the same thing. If you allow your vibration to rise incrementally.
I think what I'm seeing is if you use more thinking to try to get out of the thinking that you are in, you actually weigh that down. The cork float analogy.
So we're sort of caught in a little quagmire here, and let's clear this up. So these things are true. Follow our logic here. You're going to like this. Because we've been following yours, and it's good. Your logic is good. Which comes first, the thought or the emotion?
The thought which I feel. The thought first, and then I feel it.
So I focus, which is what thinking is. I focus and activate within myself the subject of my attention. And then there is a vibrational relationship between what I've got active and the activity that my inner being has active on the same subject. So there is a relationship between the two. And the way I feel talks about the harmony or discord between what I got going on vibrationally and what my inner being's got going on vibrationally.
Can I call that? Can I say when I say that I feel my thinking?
You can, but stay with us just for a little bit
it.
here, and let's take this to a new place of understanding. So, it is always accurate to say that I think and then I have a feeling response to my thought. It's also accurate to say that it is not likely that I'm just going to stop thinking a thought. That would be like saying, jump over the building. You're just not going to jump over the building. You might find a way to get yourself over the building, but you're not going to just jump over the building. So, now we're talking about incremental thoughts. We're talking about momentum of thoughts. Now, just rest with that for just a moment and answer this question. Is your inner being, in any moment in time, thinking a thought? Yes.
Yeah.
Answer this question. Is your inner being, in any moment in time, thinking a thought about what's on your mind?
Yeah.
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 So,
That's done.
that thought's already being thought. So there's a part of you, a big part of you, already thinking. Ooh, we have not had this conversation before. You're starting to feel it already, aren't you? So your inner being is already thinking a thought. If you quiet your mind and allow your vibration to raise, you'll be thinking the same thought that your inner being is thinking.
Got it.
And that's worthiness. That's alignment.
Yeah.
Ooh, there were a lot of ha-has that just happened. And a lot of goosebumps on your body. So let's say it again. Your inner being is always interested and actively involved in whatever you're involved in, and always thinking a thought, and it's always pure positive energy, and it's always powerful, and it's always resourceful in its energy. It's the energy that creates worlds. And you're having some relationship with that thought that your inner being is thinking. Now, your inner being is not demanding you to jump over the house or raise your vibration that 84 feet without going through the locks. Your inner being knows that there's resistance on your path that makes it maybe not likely for you to see this as your inner being sees it right now, this red hot minute. But your inner being will keep calling you through the path of least resistance, through the path of the resistance that you've thrown on the trail in order to get you there. In other words, your inner being doesn't ask you to think that thought and understand that right now, but your inner being is always calling you toward what you've created in your own vortex and all that you've become. Don't you just love this? So if you care about the way you feel, and you acknowledge that your inner being is thinking a thought, and for just a little bit, you're listening rather than talking. You're listening for the thought that your inner being thinks about it, rather than explaining why you can't think that thought or explaining why you're where you are. If you just chill and talk less. Esther is sometimes annoyed at the cell phones because they can't talk and listen at the same time. And so she's talking all over the top of her daughter, and her daughter's talking all over the top of her. In other words, they can't tell. Neither one of them ever want to stop talking, and so... But you are either broadcasting or you are receiving. You're not doing both at the same time. And so if you want to hear what your inner being is thinking, or let's say it better, if you want to be in on that high-minded thought that your inner being is thinking, then you got to stop spewing the lower-minded thought that you are spewing, which is the whole point of meditation, or the whole point of doing your best to chill. But to your point, you can't just stop thinking a thought. So you want to think the thoughts that let you go up the locks in the Panama Canal. Just try to find a thought that feels a little better, and a thought that feels a little better, and a thought that feels a little better, and a thought that feels a little better. And before you know it, you're in range, and now you're receiving the thought that your inner being is thinking about this.
Right. And the stop talking so you can listen is also in the thinking.
Or, good words, stop broadcasting so you can receive. Stop broadcasting for just a minute and see what you can pick up from the ethers.
Yeah. And then that activity like, well, that was a negative thought, so I need to think more positively, is just more talking. It's just more...
And efforting.
Which
brings us full circle. So get out there on your favorite trail and walk briskly.
Or run.
Well, we were just doing one walk at a time here. So get out there and distract yourself. Doesn't your vibration usually rise? And don't you begin to get those clear-minded epiphanies under those conditions? Yeah.
So it's
anything that's
effortless.
conducive to receptive mode is the movement toward the effortlessness. But here's something that we must say to you. When you get tuned in, tapped in, turned on, and you begin to receive what your source knows, then you offer all kinds of action, but it's effortless action. So let's not confuse effort and action, because action from inspiration just flows, but action that's trying to buck the current doesn't.
So action from inspiration is self-expression with a capital S.
Yeah.
You are now expressing source, and you're doing it in words, and you're doing it in actions.
It's thrilling, and it's the way you intended to live.
Yeah.
It's what you came for.
Thank you.
Thank you. on the path for fun, but before I get there, I want to get on a well-defined path that isn't fun for me. And I'll clean up that well-defined path that isn't fun for me on my way to fun. And we say, why not just go directly to fun? Why do you have to justify your fun through a path that you've already acknowledged you've sort of clogged up a little bit? So the fastest way, so if you've ever had fun, have you?
Yes.
So think about something that is fun. We're hitting this a little more head-on than maybe is the easy way to go about it, but you're up for it. You're all up for it. So what is fun? Just be real soft and easy and precise about fun moments. Don't get carried away on what led up to it or how many things were involved in it. Just what makes up a fun moment for you?
This is a fun moment for me.
This is a fun moment.
Being here is a fun moment for me. Being with all the people here is fun.
So it's fun. So we get that. We understand that. So now let's milk that a little bit. What's fun? What is fun about this? What's fun about this?
I'm enjoying the connection that I feel to myself and to the people that are here.
Well, certainly that's necessary for fun, but that feels more like pleasure or enjoyment. Fun feels a little more pointed, isn't it, sometimes? And fun doesn't need to be funny, but fun certainly does imply lightheartedness.
Yes.
It implies nothing serious going on in the sense that we're not trying to fix anything that's broken. And so play around with that feeling of fun just a little bit. Esther wrote pages and pages of the word fun a few months ago in her books, Fun, 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 and tried to define as best she could. And it took a little bit of doing to identify what's fun. When Esther thinks about fun, she thinks about laughing. She thinks about other people being there. She thinks about more than just her having fun for some reason. Fun feels like something that is delightfully shared. So it's laughing with people laugh easily. It's surprises along the way. It's fun. The most fun thing of all is universal co-creation. In other words, to have established something and then the universe saying, how about this? That's fun. The universe's never-ending ability to put things in the mix. That's really fun. It's not just fun, it's clarifying, and it's not just clarifying. Oh, it really pronounces your sense of worthiness. So we might be saying that clarity is fun and worthiness is fun, but that's kind of stretching it in the boundaries a little bit. But you see what we're getting at. You want to sort of massage it into fun. Fun. The other day we were visiting with a really wonderful young man who has been talking to us for some time about relationship issues. And we make a little progress and then we lose a little progress. We make a little progress and lose a little progress. And each time he comes, he's all full of his desire and easy for us to find because of his vibrational proximity. And so he quite often has a conversation with Abraham about this subject. It's sort of like an ongoing saga. So on this particular day, we have one intention and one intention only, and that is to just soothe and make lighthearted about this fun. So we started to explain that to him, and he stopped us because we weren't getting right to the heart of the issue like he wanted us to. And he said, these were his words, I know all of that. I've been there. I've done that many times. I want to talk with you, Abraham, about this. He didn't quite say it that way, but that's what he meant. And we said, it's like going to get a massage and saying to the person as they begin rubbing your neck in some unbelievably delicious way, oh, wait, you've done that before. You don't have to do that again. Oh, that feels so good on my feet. But stop. I've had that pleasure too. Stop. Because the whole point of your moments, the whole point of a fun moment is to have fun, not to make fun for later, not to prepare yourself for fun. It's not doing an exercise that assures fun. That messes the energy of it all up. It's just, what's fun right now? What's fun right now? And sometimes there's not enough momentum for fun. right now, fun has a little momentum going to it, doesn't it? Doesn't fun have momentum going? Isn't it? What's more fun than getting on the wavelength with another person? Ooh. And then together discovering some really fun thing to think about or do or say that you've not done before. So adventure's mixed in with fun. Fun's a sort of loaded word, isn't it? So that's the way we would approach it. We would just walk all around it, and sometimes that much conversation with yourself or with somebody else is enough to get it activated, and then the fun begins.
As you were discussing it, I'm realizing that over the last, throughout my life, I've really enjoyed having fun on my own, by myself, and now I want to have more fun co-creating with other people.
Well, there's good news and there's bad news in that statement. The good news is, and it's really good news, that if you are having fun by yourself, you're like a crazy person. No. If you're having fun by yourself, it means that you have established a relationship with your source who is always present. And so the momentum of thoughts is escalating into really satisfying and fun-filled moments. That's the good news. The bad news is, and it really isn't bad news, but really, fun is one of those things that has enough momentum to it that usually it includes the universal's rendezvousing with you, with others. Even if they're not in the room with you, dancing with them in traffic, just different things that are happening. And so we are not prepared to say ever that anything cannot be experienced singularly. It's just that law of attraction doesn't make you singularly focused ever. And the most fun things are the rendezvousing with other consciousness, other conversations, other words, other ideas, juxtapositions, other situations, situation comedy. Isn't that what law of attraction is? Law of attraction is the best creator of situation comedy, because law of attraction knows who you are and what you want and who you really are and where you stand in this current moment in vibrational proximity to all that you've become, and is just laying out this path of fulfillment that when you say, I want fun, law of attraction can be so fun in the things that are queued up for you, in the surprise and delight that is queued up for you. Yeah. See how they're finding fun? It's everywhere. Yeah. Enough? Esther went one day to In-N-Out Burger, took her burger down to Mission Bay to sit, and went deliberately for the pleasure of being there, just for the satisfaction of the place. And as she got there, she began looking at the other people that were there, and she said to herself, to us, out loud, I wonder how many of them were feeling good before they came here, and the impulse to be here came because they were feeling good, because that's the way she felt that it happened to her. Or how many of them came there for the entertainment or came there for the fun? There's a difference, isn't there? In other words, how much preparation did I do before? And so this activity that I'm involved in is the inspiration from that fun place. Or did they come for the fun? And so she sat and she tried to see if they were having as much fun as she was, which is not an easy thing to discern, because when you're having fun, you sort of see fun where it is. But it was a very interesting first-time thought for her. I know I felt good before I came, and being here exaggerates the goodness that I felt. I didn't come here to cheer myself up. I felt good before I came. So she's pondering that. In fact, she even wrote a little bit about it. And she thought, I'm just going to do this grid work all the time. I'm going to do the preparation, and I'm going to let the universe fill it in, because that's so fun. That makes you know that you've got this co-creative partner, and all these co-creative partners. So only those that are really ready to play with you, play with you. And so she left Mission Bay, and she's on a street, getting ready to get back onto Interstate 5 to go back to her house, which was north. And as she sat there for a moment, she looked ahead and noticed that the traffic wasn't moving. And then as she went through the last intersection, which was an option to do something different before the on-ramp, she realized there must be a traffic jam on the freeway because nothing was moving. It was all really stacked up. And she thought to herself, I could sit here, or I could get out of here while the getting's good. But that would require doing something highly illegal and very quick because things were shifting around. So all of a sudden, she was in the center lane. She just cranked her steering wheel really hard and made a really effective and very fast U-turn. And now she's facing the other way. And at the same moment that she did it, a man in the car behind her did exactly the same thing. So now he was behind her. Now he's in front of her. And now they're sitting and waiting for a rather long light. And as Esther was sitting there, the man got out of his car, came over, all full of himself, and talked right into her window. That was the single most exciting thing that I've ever seen happen in traffic. And Esther thought, that was way fun. In other words, she's in traffic, and some frisky person who just wanted to play with her, who was complimenting her on the deftness with which she had performed her legality. And she thought, there are playful people everywhere, and they will come in the most odd ways. And the odder it is, the funner it is. Don't you think?